Bernie Sanders' bill to end U.S. support for Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen just advanced recently, and they're actually set to vote on it again at the time that I'm recording this video. So by the time you see this, it may very well already be the case that we know whether or not the Senate voted on this and how that went. But overall, in order for this to be a success, the House also has to adopt this. Now, Khanna has teamed up with Bernie Sanders in this effort, and he has been doing a lot to push this bill, to push for a vote, and to encourage his colleagues to adopt this, to support this measure, and end the bloodshed. And before the vote, he released this passionate plea on Twitter that I was really touched by, and I wanted you to see.
Today is the last chance in this Congress for us to end the war in Yemen. This ought not to be a political issue. It's a humanitarian issue. The United Nations has told us that 12 to 14 million Yemenis face the possibility of famine and starvation in the next 3 months. Every 10 minutes, a young child is dying in Yemen because of cholera or starvation. We need to stop the bombing of the port of Hodeidah that the Saudis are doing and allow for food and medicine to get in so we can save lives and prevent a famine. Now, when we started this effort 2 years ago, most members of Congress didn't even know that we were actively involved in aiding the Saudi bombing of Yemen. We introduced a war powers resolution that, frankly, the leadership of both parties at that time opposed. We've now come a long way. Senator Sanders has managed to get a vote in the Senate, and we need to get a vote in the House of Representatives so that Congress can speak with one voice. Article 1 of the Constitution gives Congress the power over war and peace. It's important to understand there is no authorization for what our government is doing by aiding the Saudis in this war in Yemen. Congress has never authorized it. We need to speak up and make it clear that our military should not be aiding Saudi Arabia in this horrific war. It's not in our strategic interest. The Saudis are actually aligned with al-Qaeda in fighting the Houthis. It makes no strategic sense. And we have another generation growing up in Yemen, seeing American missiles take the lives of their family members. That's not making us any safer. America should have no complicity in this going forward. The time is long past due. The Senate and the House of Representatives need to act today. We need to end this war.
So what he's saying here is indisputable. Not only is the United States' support for Saudi Arabia's genocide in Yemen unethical, but it's also not strategically sound. It doesn't suit our interests in spite of what Trump's administration may tell you. Stop giving Saudi Arabia bombs that they're using to kill children. That's all we're asking. We want children to stop being murdered, so it shouldn't be that difficult. And really, it's pretty common sense, seeing that even a lot of Republicans support this, as extreme as they are. Now, what happened in the House with regard to this bill? Well, essentially, Republican Party leadership decided to postpone the vote on this. And they did this in the sleaziest way possible by slipping language into a different bill that stops a vote on this, maybe to hide it or to get it through easier, but either way, it was postponed, and as William Roberts of Al Jazeera explains, Republican leadership in Congress moved to stall until next year a broadly supported congressional resolution aimed at ending U.S. support for Saudi Arabia's bombing campaign in Yemen. The move came as part of a tight procedural vote on Wednesday in the U.S. House of Representatives on an $837 billion 5-year agriculture bill. Tucked within the rules governing the bill is a provision that says the War Powers Resolution, which fast-tracks certain bills, won't apply to any resolution related to Yemen for the rest of this Congress. The move will effectively block the House from taking up any bill on Yemen this year, even if one makes it through the Senate. The House is expected to pass the Farm Bill later on Wednesday. The 206 to 203 House vote is a temporary win for President Donald Trump, who has advanced a policy of U.S. support for Saudi Arabia in Yemen and its wider regional standoff with Iran. Trump has avoided blaming Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman for the murder of writer Jamal Khashoggi, while members of Congress say U.S. intelligence points clearly to the Saudi leader. Advocates of the U.S. resolution to end U.S. involvement in Yemen, which is also pending debate and vote in the Senate on Wednesday, decried the Republican action. Now, everything that you're thinking right now, the outrage that you're feeling, was essentially voiced by Representative Khanna, who's been an advocate for this. And on the House floor, he talked about how absurd it is that we linked a farm bill about agriculture to Yemen. And this is what he had to say.
What does a farm bill have to do with the war in Yemen? And the answer is absolutely nothing. You wonder why people are frustrated with Congress, why they think Congress lacks common sense. It's because no one understands why you would have a vote on a farm bill and you would tie it to a vote on war and peace in Yemen. The only reason the leadership is doing this is because they know that there are dozens of Republicans who will stand with Democrats to stop the killing in Yemen. How do they know this? Because Senate Republicans are voting to stop the killing in Yemen. I came to Congress because of my grandfather, who inspired me, who spent 4 years in jail in Gandhi's independence movement. And I came to Congress to say that America should always stand for human rights. I urge my Republican colleagues, look at the pictures in the New York Times and Huffington Post. 5-year-old kids, 7-year-old kids starving to death. A Yemenis child dying every 10 minutes. They tell us to wait till January. That would mean thousands of more Yemenis kids dead. I don't think this is a partisan issue. This is an American issue. Let's stop the killing in Yemen. Let's end the famine. Let's have a vote in this House so we can stop the civil war in Yemen and save lives.
So that was a very powerful speech because something he said resonated with me. He said that there's a child dying in Yemen every, I think it was 10 minutes. That's just, it's difficult to fathom that level of carnage and suffering and pain. So even if individuals might say, well, you know, this Congress is almost over, so it's not that bad that we delay it. No, actually, thousands of lives are going to perish because of this delayed vote. Now, Khanna also took to Twitter to call out Paul Ryan by name, saying, "This is why people hate Congress. Speaker Ryan is not allowing a vote on my resolution to stop the war in Yemen because many Republicans will vote with us and he will lose the vote. He is disgracing Article 1 of the Constitution, and as a result, more Yemeni children will die." So as Paul Ryan heads into retirement, this is one of the lasting moves he's making. This will be one of the last things he does. That's going to be part of his legacy. Block a vote on a bill that is going to lead to thousands of children dying. That blood is directly on his hands. But Paul Ryan didn't act alone. In fact, Republicans in general didn't act alone because there are 5 Democrats who aligned with Republicans who blocked the vote on this, that essentially could have swayed it in the opposite direction. And Ken Klippenstein took the time to point out those 5 lawmakers, and this Twitter user actually got all of their numbers for you to call and let them know. So, how you feel. So that is Jim Costa. His number is 202-225-3341. Al Lawson, 202-225-0123. David Scott, 202-225-2939. Colin Peterson, 202-225-2165. And Dutch Ruppersberger, 202-225-3061. So Kyle Kalinske on Twitter made a point that really resonated with me. It was something to the effect of, we have to actually beg people to stop murdering children in Congress. That's how morally bankrupt they are. We have to beg them to do something as simple as just ending support for genocide. Democrats had the votes to pass this, but they didn't. And members of Congress are choosing to side with Donald Trump as they support a genocidal regime that is murdering children in Yemen. It's just disgusting. I'm embarrassed to be an American when our Congress can't even vote to end support for genocide. How disgusting is that? And I keep using the same adjectives such as disgusting and morally bankrupt, but I don't know how else to describe it. I feel as if there needs to be a new word to describe this level of disgustingness. I mean, I think that this kind of rises to the level of evilness. I don't think I'm embellishing to describe this as evil. It's fucking gross. Shame on every single one of these people. This is our Congress, ladies and gentlemen. They can't even vote to stop murdering children in Yemen. What a bunch of disgusting people we have supposedly representing us.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.